Welcome to Why So Spicy with Nicholas coming at ya podcast. Warning, extended satirical material on this program may strike some viewers as vulgar, offensive, prurient, or, worst of all, serious. It's satire. Please adjust your expectations and interpretations accordingly.
Simone que sí.
Simone que sí. So, although, and this is full candor, I'm going to disclosure right now, I became a Mexican on 5 October 2022. But like your son will tell you, I am the biggest gringo you've ever met in your life. I'm just proud to be Mexican, but I can speak only lo siento, señor. Un poquito español. Lo siento. So my Spanish is like survival. I can get a taco. I can beg for things. And usually when I cry and I get down on the ground, people will want to help me. And that's my strategy in Mexico when I go. And so I saw you were from Gardena, California was the phone number. And I'm like, I don't know any Latino people from Gardena. It was usually 25 years ago, like Asian people. So I'm like, I don't remember you being Asian, but I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to judge you. I am like, it's all based on humor. It's just I've heard rumors that Gardena is filled with more Asian descent. So I don't know if you were like Asian/Latino. I don't know.
No, you are right. You are right.
So I wanted to ask you some questions right. Based on the lens of, well, first of all, where are you from originally? Where were you born?
Michoacán.
Oh, you are really from Mexico?
I am from Michoacán, Mexico, yeah.
Oh, so, okay. Because your son always said you were Mexican, but everyone says, like, he's not Mexican. He says he is from birth. I was like, I'm more Mexican than you. I got papers. You don't got jack. So that's cool. You're actually from there.
Yeah, I'm from Mexico.
So you came to America and you joined the...
So my parents brought me here. I was a newborn, and I came over and raised in Cali. And after I graduated high school, tried community college. Wasn't my thing, so then I joined the service.
And you joined the Air Force, Army, Navy, Marine Corps? Army. What was your MO in the Army?
19 Delta.
That's something to do with...
I was a scout.
Scout, okay. Oh, damn, that's like intense. And then I was a hospital person. I was like, if it's not 70 degrees, I'm going to the FOB commander. And was like, this is bullshit, sir. We need to emergency. ER needs to be 72 degrees. And so you were hardcore. How many years did you do that for?
5 years.
5 years. So if you were telling someone, like a young person, because I'm pro-military and I'm trying to get people to join, the Army and stuff.
Right.
Would you recommend them going like 11 Bravo or Scout 19 Delta? Like, how hard is it to get through 19 Delta? Because I know it's elite, but I don't know like how hard, because I just did medical crap.
Right.
Would you recommend someone take that route, or would you say, oh, hell no, you're going to beat yourself up?
Well, it depends. So, like if the person's anything like me and their intentions or the experience that they wanted to acquire was anything like mine, I would suggest it, just because it's not as hard as when I went through it.
So it sounds like
you see what I'm saying?
You were motivated and you wanted it.
I was all for it. I was that kid from the hood that wanted to experience fucking blowing up shit. You know what I mean?
And so how long did it take you to get through basic?
I don't know how long it is now. Then it was back then it was what was it? 4 months?
4 months?
16 weeks? Yeah. Yep.
God, when I went through Air Force,
because remember,
Air Force basic training was like 4 weeks, and I cried every fucking day. 4 months? I couldn't imagine. Fuck, 4 months. And then after basic, did you get like a break? They gave you like a 2-month vacation in the beach, or did you go?
I wish.
Straight to Okay, so you went from basic directly to where would you do your training at for your? Were you 11 Bravo first, then went to Scout, or did they immediately know you wanted to do something special?
No, I went directly. It's a being a scout. And what I was telling you was when I went in, I believe you enlisted right before I got out or something, somewhere around there. So when we went in, it was, you know how you do. Are you Air Force or Army?
Well, so I did 11 years, 2 months, 17 days Air Force, and it was too strict, so I got out, went to college. And I never thought I'd go to college. And then I joined the Army because they offered $80,000 bonuses. And I'm like, I couldn't turn that down. I was like down and out after college. So and then I joined the Army and I was like, oh my God, I could tie my own shoes. I could shave my hair. I showed up to work on time. I'm not shitting you. I was a stellar soldier. And in the Air Force, it was a kind of expected thing. But people were committing crimes and doing drugs and alcohol. And I'm like, damn, I'm clean. I'm like a rock star. So totally different world in the Army. It was hardcore. But the exercise was, intense.
Right. So when I went through, it was because in the Army, your boot camp, they split it up, right? They do your basic training, then they I don't know I don't know how they do it now, but when I went in, it was all straight through. It was 4 months at one site. You got all your training there, and there was no breaks. I believe now, I want to assume that they do the basic portion of it. And they might give you a break, and then you come back for AIT or something. And so for me, it was all 4 months of nothing but training.
And so with basic training, the running was like a mile or 10 miles. What was the scout training more intense? Like more push-ups, more running? How would you describe it?
Oh yeah. Let me ask you, where did you do your basic training?
Oh my God. I just got flashbacks. I just seriously say I had PTSD. Fort Sam Houston Air Force. It was San Antonio. Sorry, I was stationed.
Okay.
But Air Force was basic training. I was an 06 trainee. Sir, what's an 06 trainee? Bloodthirsty, kill crazy, romp and stomp an Air Force recruit, sir. And oh my God, I cried every night. I was not just normal tears. It was like snot bubbles coming out. I was not meant for the military. But anyways, that was hell.
Okay.
4 weeks. It was fucking hell. Oh my God, I cried. So yeah, we had to do a mile sometimes, maybe once or twice a week, or no, once every 2 weeks. We had to run in a mile in formation, and if someone was slow, we'd slow down for the whole pack. We didn't have to do the pull-ups and sit-ups if it hurt us, so we could stop and just rest. And then the what do you call it? The push-ups. They would require you, if you weren't pushing up, you could just hold in that position, but a lot of us just touched our chest to the ground because we got stressed. It wasn't, we don't want to get our uniforms dirty, our little PT uniform. It was like, this is Air Force. It's kind of shiny and stuff. So, yeah, it was a totally different role. Then we got to go I was on the tug team, and the tug team, you go at night to get dinner in the dining hall. But before that, for like 45 minutes, they had us wear these gloves and this huge, 2-inch rope. And we just had to pull against the building. But then we got to go to gain weight. We got to eat hamburgers, pizza, fried chicken, ice cream, all we could eat. All you could eat. No complaints. No DIs, drill instructors watching us. And then we ended up winning. We ended up winning the sports day. And you've never heard a bunch of Air Force, 100 Air Force little 18-year-olds screaming oh my God. People would have thought we were in a pool on Memorial Day. It was like, oh my God, this is great. They gave us the weekend off. We got to go to the PX. You don't even know. After 3 weeks with no PX, we were just deranged people. It was, oh my God, just so constipated. We were so scared. We were constipated for 3 weeks. We could not, and everyone's so, you don't know what fear is. We had to fold our underwear in 6-inch squares in our shirts. We cried. If the drill instructor threw it on the ground, you hear open weeping because people were I spent hours doing that. And so here I am bitching about the Air Force. And you're fucking probably didn't get a shower. We got 2 showers a day because after PT and then at night, but you had to get it before we got tucked in by the drill instructors. And I'm talking really tucked us in. And it was, yeah. And so the Army, I'm thinking, oh fuck. I can't even imagine.
Oh, yes. So you guys had a nice, man.
Well, I bet, and that's what's kind of funny. After 11 years of that, I'm like, this is too tough. I only get an hour and a half lunch break, and I had to work past 4:30. This is bullshit. So I got out, and then when I joined the Army, I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, I had a dream job. Like, fuck. But you see the Army movies. I saw something called Black Hawk Down. I'm like, well, I want to do that. And you see, what's it called? Band of Brothers. I'm like, well, I want to have buddies like that. And so you just join, and you're like. When I got in the Army, it's like, this is like the movies. And I told the instructor and the officer basic course, it was like 6 weeks for the Army. And it was like, what, did you see the movies? And I said, well, yeah, that's where I saw and I joined. The recruiter promised me. Then people started laughing at me. As soon as I said the Army recruiter promised me things, they were like, oh, you got hosed. So you know the whole deal. I think you guys got it worse. But tell me how long, like,
yep.
Go ahead.
So for obviously, you know a little bit of the military, and I'm pretty sure you've heard of Fort Knox.
Oh, yeah, gold.
Okay, so that's where I did my basic training, 4 months there. During the summertime.
What? That's
fucking just, that was where the devil went to go do his business,
Jesus, yeah.
It was so hot, and I'm talking about, so you're talking about running a mile every once in a blue moon. Yeah. We were doing this shit every fucking day.
What? 1, 2 miles? What do you guys do?
Every morning, fucking, we would wake up like at 4 a.m. Fucking, they'd take us out for a run.
4 in the morning?
And if you couldn't keep up, they'd wake us up around 4:30 in the morning. And then we just, form up, fucking, and go for a run. Until whenever they decided, fucking, it was, everybody started falling out. They're like, all right, we need to fucking take these guys in. But it was every fucking morning we went on the run.
Jesus Christ. And so when I joined the Army, things were tougher, but I'm not going to lie. In the medical corps for the officers, we got to wake up with an alarm clock about 8 or 8:30. And because we worked in the hospital, they just basically told us, like, surgeons, and we can't be tired because our jobs affect people's lives. And so the officers basically got away, the medical officers only, got away with not doing PT because we had to do it on our own, because we had to show up at 8:30, and then we got a lunch, an hour or so, and then get off work at 4 or whatever. And then we could just go out and do some PT on our own, just like, play dodgeball or something, like something, vicious. We could get hurt with dodgeball, so we had to be careful. People wear glasses out there and shit. And so I did running on my own, all my bullshit I told you about. But yeah, you guys had it much tougher, and here we're all like trying to get out, everything the officers can do to get out of like exercise. That was the fucking goal. We got medals for that shit. Yeah, but he got us out of 3 months of PT. Let's give him a accommodation medal and shit. But you were, and then that was basic. Was the AIT, your training for Scout, was that like double the, like 3 miles or more, or just till you passed out, or how bad was that?
Oh, it definitely progressed, and the mileage increased. But we had this, we had, they used to call it agony and misery. It was a fucking hill you had to fucking run up and down and shit. And so if you ask anybody that trained at Fort Carson, they'll tell you what agony and misery is. And so we would have to, run this shit every morning. Then, they'd bring us back, take us to and so, yep. So that would wake you up. You come back, you go straight into, getting breakfast right after. Then you're going back up to your room. You don't even shower. You're going up to your room. You're putting on your uniform, and they're fucking marching you to wherever these buildings are where you're doing your training and shit. And I'm talking about, like I said, during the midsummer.
Hold on.
All of it was from.
You didn't.
I got there in May.
You didn't get a 45-minute shower break? Are you kidding?
Nope. Would go right back in the, like I said, right back into uniform, and they would march us down to the fucking this wherever these buildings were for our training, right? And I'm talking about full battle rattle, fucking helmet, your everything. And so, by the time you got there, you're already poured in sweat. You know what I mean? And so you do that, and you're trying to stay awake with all your buddies and shit. Typically what we used to do was, we'd assign somebody at each table, You're like, hey, dude, today is your turn. You gotta make sure nobody falls asleep on your road, because if somebody fell asleep on your road, they smoke your ass, Oh
my God, that's punishment right there. Damn.
Yep. So, damn.
Now, you're old enough where, do you remember the MREs, meals ready to eat? Do you remember the dark brown, or did you get the light green ones where they have these heated packages and shit? Did you have the old school or the new ones?
I had the old school.
And I'm not going to lie to you. Even back in 88, I fucking love those things. I thought they were gold. And then the new ones came out and I'm like, what? This heats up? Because I used to love the eggs and all the bad things I would take and trade. And as long as I had little Tabasco sauce, this little things that came, I had like 32 Tabasco sauce saved up. So no matter what the meal is, it fucking tasted great. Love that shit.
Yeah. So the first time that I tried an MRE was and I believe these were around back in when the first Gulf War popped off.
Yeah.
We had a whole bunch of National Guard dudes come over and take over one of the parks where I lived at. And a lot of the families would make, a dish or something, take it to them. And then in turn, they would be like, oh, well, we don't need this shit. Let's give them out to the kids. And so, they would give us their rations, right?
That's fucking cool.
So we would eat their rations and everything. And, but we were always like fascinated with it. You're like young and you're like, what the hell are these guys doing here, And so we definitely enjoyed that. And I want to say that kind of led me to, my path of going into the service because, so I interacted with a lot of them. And that's when I first experimented with chewing tobacco.
What? That's funny.
And, I was one of those kids that was down for trying, I guess, almost anything. And I remember one morning. Yeah. Yep. So I went over and I saw one of the dudes packing it and I was like, what the hell is this shit? So I go over there and I was like, hey man, what is that? He's like, oh, this is chewing tobacco. This will help you fucking get a nice little buzz and you'll stay awake and shit, right? So here I am fucking clueless, And I said, hey dude, you mind me trying? And he's like, nah, go ahead and knock yourself out. I said, all right. I hadn't really eaten nothing that morning because we went straight to the park. And I remember I took a little pinch. Obviously, when you don't know, you tend to swallow this shit, right? That was probably one of the biggest mistakes I ever did. Fucking the rest of the day, I was just puking my guts out. And my brother's like, see, I told.
I did that, and it felt like I was kind of drunk. You're right. I was kind of drunk, and I kind of didn't go well with my stomach because I swallowed it. And the guy said, "What the fuck are you doing?" The football team was like, "You can't swallow that shit." And I'm like, "Fuck." The people from Arkansas and us from California, I was like, well, I was just doing what they were doing. And I'm like, I didn't do it right, but fuck. So you get out of Scout. Where were you first stationed at?
So when they first cut my orders, I was supposed to go to Germany.
What? That's awesome.
But because of some security fucking clearance bullshit, I got stuck there at Fort Knox for about another month or so. Just for them to see what's going on with my clearance, right?
Fuck.
And so there's at least like 15 to 20 of us still stuck around because 15 to 20 of us, same issue. They didn't know what was fucking going on with our shit. So I was scheduled to go to Germany. That got fucking erased. And then they finally said, you know what? Fuck it, you're going to Carson. I said, oh, fuck it, let's go.
Fuck.
So I came to Carson and it's kind of like you show up and I think I showed up around the day before or a few days before Thanksgiving of 99.
Oh, damn.
So I get here, fucking, Colorado weather. It's fucking cold. It's fucking snowing. I'm like, what the fuck did I get myself into?
From California. Yeah, that's funny.
So I'm like, what the fuck, man? So I'm stuck in the barracks, fucking, and I don't know what's going on. I show up and a whole bunch of these guys, these fucking dudes that are in processing, they're like, hey man, fucking grab a plate, grab whatever you want to eat, just fucking lounge around, So I'm sitting there waiting at Carson, and I think fucking a few days go by while I'm still in processing, and then finally I get fucking the people that come over and introduce themselves that I'm gonna be part of their unit or whatever, and everybody's cool, fucking I believe they were both sergeants that came over and introduced themselves. Pretty cool as fuck, and I was like, all right. So they start fucking kind of telling me what the unit's about, and it's a brand new unit, and it's attached to a field artillery unit.
Oh, damn.
And I said, all right. So how big is the fucking unit? They're like, dude, we got 2 platoons of scouts and 1 platoon of fisters. which fisters is basically your call for fire guys. And so I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, you know. So finally they come over and pick me up, and I go straight into the unit. And they take me in to fucking meet my lieutenant, the platoon sergeant. And by this point, they've already heard that, you know, where I come from and shit, right? So fucking platoon sergeant right away, he's like, so I hear you're from South Central. I said, who told you this, bro? He said, oh, I've already heard, you know, I definitely got ears everywhere. I said, shit. I said, yeah, I'm from South Central, what's up? And that was my mentality. I never backed down, you know, I didn't bow down to nobody. I didn't care what your rank was. I was always, you know, fucking direct. I told you what I felt. And my lieutenant looks at me, he's like, so what, you want to throw down or what? I said, hey, sir, I said, I'm ready for whoever you fucking put in front of me, you know? So I'm just joking around with these guys, right? And fucking, and the first sergeant was in the office that day. So my lieutenant goes off and he goes and grabs him, right? He fucking comes back. And the thing that I loved about that unit was that leadership was all like ex-Rangers, ex-fucking Special Forces. Like, these were some hard motherfuckers. And so here comes this first sergeant. This dude was stocky. He's probably about 6 foot. I don't know, probably about 230 solid, just solid. And, he comes in and they tell him, hey, you know, fucking, this is your first sergeant, you know. And I look at him, I'm like, holy shit, this motherfucker's big. So after that, you know, we exchanged a few words and he's like, listen, I expect a lot of you guys. So make sure that you got the right mindset. You listen to your fucking leadership and fucking let's kill it, you know, because we're fucking a small unit and we have fucking a whole battalion of fucking scouts, which was 3rd ACR.
Did you guys have like more pride to be in the scouts, and so you guys like were closer and try to get the job done? How would you describe it?
In that unit, yes, because like I said, it wasn't like we had our own battalion or anything. It was just a fucking small little unit. It was 2 platoons of scouts, 1 platoon of fisters, and even between the fisters and the scouts, we didn't get along like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we thought we did their job better than them.
That's
you know?
So you were in 91. That means
99.
99, 2001. Did you ever deploy then with for the second Desert Storm?
Yep. Yep. So we left. So we were, anybody that joins the service as far as like any combat unit, at one point or another, they're going to ask themselves, well, I've been at this duty station, I've been at another duty station, but I haven't seen anything. Like, what the fuck, right? And I remember we were down at Fort Irwin in California. We were training. We were fucking out there training. And I had this conversation with one of my guys, and we're like, we're not doing shit. You know, we're hearing all these rumors that, you know, we're going to go to war and this and that. I said, I guarantee you we're not going. So one afternoon, fucking, our first sergeant fucking, he calls everybody in. He's like, I want every single one of you motherfuckers present. We're going to have a fucking little powwow. I said, all right, cool. My platoon sergeant's like, hey, dude, just fucking make sure, you know, the truck is ready in case we need to fucking load it up and go or whatever. That's all right, cool, whatever. So we're having dinner and he's trying to talk to us, right? And he tells us but he got real serious, you know? And he's like, listen, guys, it's like, I don't mean to alarm any of you guys, but I would, this is the moment where I would start calling home and start getting your fucking ducks in a row. And damn. Before he started fucking, directing us, everybody was talking shit, right? Everybody was just having a good old time. The minute them words came out of his mouth, everybody was like, fucking, you couldn't even hear a fucking cricket. It was just fucking quiet. I was like, oh shit, okay. So now it's for real, you know? Now we're definitely going. So we all, like, even within the platoon, you have those people that you can go to. You know what I mean? Like, if you're having
back up.
If you're stressing out or whatever, you have that. So even though the whole unit, my whole platoon was real tight, I had that one person I could go talk to, or I can even fucking, disclose any personal shit I was having to go through with my platoon sergeant, because that dude, I mean, I'll kill a motherfucker for that guy, you know what I mean? Even though we don't conversate like that, like we used to, but for that guy, so, everybody's having their conversations, we're having the opportunity to go, because we didn't have what the Air Force had. The Air Force, they had fucking their own cooks. They had fucking, they had telephones. They had everything. Air Force was bougie, right?
Yeah.
So we're having to go to this fucking tent, and we're only allowed to go in battle buddy teams. So here goes two guys from one platoon, then they come back, another platoon goes, sends two guys, and that's how we fucking rotated, right? And I remember calling back, and fucking Jessica gets on the phone and says, "Hey, babe, how you doing?" And I was like, not too bad. He's like, "But I need to tell you something." And I said, the unit just got orders to go partake in this war, So she starts getting, all teary eyed on me, and she's like, "For real?" She's like, "You're not playing?" I said, "No, I ain't playing. It's for real." So she's like, "Oh, damn." She's like, well, let's see what we could do to help you prepare, And sure enough, after they told us that, it definitely felt real, and then we got back, and all it was is nothing but preparing. We started doing hand-to-hand combat, just really, tuning into our specialties and everything. And even before that, we had already done our training with 10th Mountain Group, Special Forces.
Yep.
So we did a lot of that with them as well to get us prepared, and then we just left.
Damn. And what year was that?
Yeah,
was that the beginning of the war then?
That was the beginning of it. So it was funny because we were supposed to be part of the spearhead.
Going in, like you guys go through a north or from Turkey or through Kuwait or what?
Yeah. See, so you're familiar with it. So we were going to be the spearhead coming from the north, from Turkey, right? So we loaded up all our equipment and made it onto a boat, and then Turkey decided that they weren't going to cooperate and fucking let us in, right?
Fuckers.
So instead of going that route, they redirected the boats back down, and fucking we flew into Kuwait. And so we waited in Kuwait until our equipment came back down, which probably lasted a few weeks. So we're out in this fucking hot ass fucking desert, sandstorms and everything, sleeping in fucking these big old tents. We're just waiting for our equipment.
Damn, so you guys didn't even have burying or anything set up. That was before 2006 was when I went a year for 15 months, but we had to go through burying and then kind of the middle of Kuwait, and then we flew helicopters across. You guys were at the line, the border.
We were at the fucking line. Like, you could hear it was going down already. And we couldn't do nothing about it because we only had, we didn't have any equipment. We didn't have any ammo. We didn't have no big guns or nothing. Nothing. All we had was our M4s. That's all we had.
My God.
M4s and fucking our rucksacks, and we didn't have radios or nothing. It was nothing.
I still think you guys would have kicked ass if you went in, but you would have lost people too, because that's a shit show. Jesus.
Right. Yeah. So with us and not having any of our equipment, we were sitting ducks right there, just waiting for somebody, to let us know, hey, you know what, fucking our shit came back down, let's go grab it real quick. So we waited there for a minute, and finally they're like, yeah, the equipment's in. It's time to go pick it up. We're like, all right, cool. So we pick it up. We start mounting, our 50 cals and our Mark 19s, and we start, fucking moving up all our fucking, M4s, and making sure the binoculars were good and everything. And right before we deployed, I don't know if you remember the Javelin.
Yep.
It was that missile with the fucking big old box on it on the side of it.
Oh yeah.
So my unit was one of the units that was tasked with finishing the development of that thing.
What?
So yes. So we were right. So they choose several people from the 2 different platoons that we had, right? And we have to go into this classroom and start messing with the scope. And so I think I missed it by like 1 or 2 points. But when we actually went down range as a unit and fucking saw this thing, this shit was pretty bad, man. It was a pain in the ass to haul, like to fucking hump it. But when you actually used it, it was cool because...
Damn, that's impressive. And so did you guys...
Yeah, that shit was pretty cool.
Did you guys move in to actually Iraq and fight anyone? Or were you guys more artillery support that would just go like fire 50, 60 miles away?
Oh, no. We didn't do that shit. We were full on. We would engage anybody who engaged us. You name it, we did it. I mean, we took over fucking missions that were assigned to 11 Bravos, because they were scared of doing it, or they just didn't have the firepower to do it.
Where did you guys go? Did you guys go through Basra on the coast, or were you guys more in the central part of Kuwait going up through Iraq, or what was your...
Yep. So we crossed over in the border right there with Kuwait, and that's how we made our way all the way up. No, we went all the way up. We covered all of Iraq. I mean, there wasn't a town we didn't patrol, you know.
Bag, did you guys ever make it to Fallujah, or was that more Ramadi? Was that more Marine type world, or the Army went in first and the Marines came in because it was just too hot, or what?
No, so I don't remember the logistics of who went first, but we definitely got into every part of the territory there.
You guys were so new, like fresh coming in. They hadn't had a chance to put IEDs, or were you fearful of copper, about crap?
Oh, it's funny you say that. So I haven't really disclosed a whole lot to my kids as far as what I didn't do, but they have an idea, they have an idea of what I may have done. And so when it comes to going in, and I personally wasn't concerned with IEDs. I wasn't concerned with like big ambushes. When we first crossed into Iraq, my fear was the children.
What?
Because because Iraq is so they use different tactics, right? And for me, my biggest concern was because I was the lead or the highest E4 at the time, so I was promotable when I went over there. But for me, I've always been I've always been the person to look out for a younger generation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
so everybody that was below me, and they can all vouch for it. I took every single one of them, under my wing when they came into the unit. Like I fucking taught them the ropes. I did a whole lot of one-on-one fucking mentoring, shit like that.
Poppy.
So when I went in, yeah, exactly, right? So my thing was, they're so green, they don't know what it is to be, because a lot of these people that come into the service, they come in from, and they've been sheltered their whole lives. You know what I mean? And so for me, coming from the hood, come on now, I'm used to this shit. So my biggest fear was the children. I don't know what the children have in their hands. I don't know if they're hiding. I don't know if they have communication with somebody who's got a higher,
all it takes is a cell phone.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So that was my biggest fear, because the minute we crossed into Iraq, trust me, if anybody says that their booty hole don't fuck her up when you're fucking ready, go fucking face the enemy, shit, I'll tell you firsthand, it happens,
yeah.
And so, so we're fucking crossing over, and you start seeing all these kids, you know? All these kids are, like, literally, I want to say, when we first crossed in, there was a first town we came up on, there was a whole bunch of kids on the side of the road. And all these kids were doing almost everything and anything in their power to try to get us to stop, right? We had a convoy of 6 trucks. Damn. And so, you know, the direction for all the drivers was, even if they throw themselves in front of you, you're not going to stop. You got to keep going. So here I am. I'm one of the gunners. And I'm telling, you know, the two, because I was a middle truck because of my platoon sergeant. So I was one of the middle trucks. And I told my gunner, I said, hey, scan for everything. If you see something fucking out of the picture, fucking let me know, and, you know, I'll guide you guys. And sure enough, you know, we see all these kids, and these kids are literally like fucking, they could touch the trucks. That's how close these guys got, because they were so desperate for us to share our food, our water, you know? Exactly. So, at that point, we didn't even stop. We just kept going, and we're like, damn, like, what the fuck are we doing? So, we finally get up to a point where we meet up with one of the other platoons, and they had found a cache, right? A whole bunch of fucking AKs. I mean, all kinds of different versions of them. And that was the first night that we were able to see something, you know. We were like, oh shit, okay, there's some stuff right here, you know. We gotta keep our ears open, and fucking our lieutenant at the time, he had a satellite phone. And so we had our 6 trucks all full of security and everything, and I get out with my platoon sergeant, and he's like, hey, dude, we're gonna fucking blow this shit up. And then but right before we do that, you know, fucking the lieutenant's got a phone, see if you wanna make a phone call or whatever. And I said, yeah, I said, I'll take that chance. And I tried to make it, just didn't have any fucking comms, right? So here we are, fucking just waiting for this shit to blow up this cache. After we did that, we all, you know, just lined back up and fucking headed back up north.
And so at what point did you guys have to use GPS capabilities to find the Best Western? Or were you guys able to find a Hilton, or where did you guys stay at the first night? Just kidding. Fucking Air Force. A Best Western. God damn Air Force.
I'm telling you, dude. So when it comes to GPS, we're just following, you know, the intel that we have as far as maps, and, you know, just communicating with the other unit that went before we did. And so that's all we're doing. We're just, you know, following directions, you know.
I get my wars messed up because I was in the first Desert Storm, and I know how that went, and I don't remember the second Desert Storm. I've just blocked out my mind. I'm like, I remember people going in and making it up to Kuwait, and just like nothing, anything. You had to have your own supplies or you're doomed. I just don't remember a line of tanks in the second one. You guys didn't have that, where you had to drop bombs for 30 days, and it was more like
no. This one was yes, sir. This was hands on. This was I see your fucking beady eyes over there, and fucking we're just gonna hash it out, see who has more ammo, you know, or who has a better aim, you know.
How long did you guys stay in Iraq for this venture?
I didn't stick around for the whole tour, just because I was scheduled to ETS. I don't know, midway from when we landed there. I was scheduled to ETS, but President Bush decided against it. So he applied the stop loss on us.
Oh, estimated time of separation canceled. So stop loss means you have to stay in because the needs of the American nation, national security, basically. Yeah, damn. So you stayed over. How long did you stay then in country?
So I want to say I stayed in country for like 3.5 months, give or take.
Yep. Situation. Yeah.
So we're fucking. So I'm, you know, I hear the news, and I'm like, I'm kind of throws me off a little bit, but I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I signed up for this shit. I wanted this shit. Now I'm here with my brothers. I'm gonna fucking handle business. So that's all my mentality was, you know. Damn, I was in it for it, you know. I was in all the way for it, and I didn't care. I blocked a lot of what was going on at home. I blocked it off, and I was like, I'm not going to think about it until, you know, I'm secure or semi-secure at whichever one of these army bases that they created. And I know that there's more, you know, military people there that if I can, you know, kind of breathe at, you know, at that point.
Yeah, a little less.
Because every time yep, exactly. So we finally go all the way up. There was one fucking time when we used to like hanging out, trying to fucking look at the map and see where we're at.
So you spent 3.5 months all together?
Yep.
Push up into Iraq. So you made it up to Baghdad?
Yeah. So we made it all the way up, right? And I want to say we went up Route 1. So we may have came in through Abdali, and we made a route that way, Nazariya. And so we took that route. We went up that route, and we went to Al Fallujah. We did all of that, and but we stayed. I want to say we spent we did our own little we went up to Tikrit. So we found yes, we did. We like I said, we weren't playing around. So we went all the way up. We stopped in Baghdad, we did Al Fallujah, and then, you know, we tried to find compounds that were empty so we can fucking, you know, kind of take over, and that would, you know, we would build our own little compounds and shit, you know, security.
Did you guys
we'd have engineers come in, and we went so we went to Mosul, right? Damn. But then we so we were all up north and everything, and then we finally came back down to Kirkuk, and in Kirkuk we found a compound, and we definitely took over that compound. It was completely fucking abandoned, but it had a gate. It had, you know, all the wall, all the way around. It had a big old fucking wall, and I remember we actually used to go into the town, you know, to fucking socialize with the people, and, you know, eat their food and all that shit. We did. It was like that. So we were even fucking around, you know what I mean? But every time, like when we used to go into Kirkuk, it wasn't like I didn't feel that fear, you know what I mean? Like we were always on edge. Yeah. Yep. We were always on edge, but it wasn't like a fear of somebody attacking us. So at that point, we were there for a while. We had engineers come over and fucking build us berms on the side, you know, all around the compound. And believe it or not, in one portion of it, they actually dug up a whole fucking, a whole corpse. That I'm talking about from head to toes, a whole corpse.
So how many people would you say did you see dead or die? The exposure for you?
It's hard to say because, you know, bullets go down range and you don't have the time to, a lot of times you don't have the time to
count and all that shit, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have the capacity when it comes to the personnel that you have to really say, well, I know I fucking shot down range that way, but I don't have the ability to go see if I hit anything. Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or the ones that you can say you did hit, you cannot confirm it because you're focused on other shit, you know? And so, so when they dug up that corpse, by that time, I don't know how long it had been, but it was all decomposed. Like, all it was is nothing but skeletons. And so, us being us, you know, fucking scouts, we're a little crazy. You gotta be a little crazy to be a scout. So we're there, and I remember they would send us off on crazy little missions, you know, to either for support and shit like that. And I remember.
Did you guys have to go on foot, or did you guys have a Humvee?
No, we had Humvees, but cool. it was nothing like the shit they got now.
Old school, yeah, the first iteration.
I'm talking about old. Shit. None of that shit. So, like the little details that I share with my kids, I used to tell them, because obviously they've already heard it from my Army buddies, but I used to tell them, I said, dude, you guys think that, you know, obviously I'm older, you know, I've definitely cooled down from what I was. And I said, but you guys can, you know, when they first, had the ability to ask them, you know, they told them what the type of individual I was. And because it was so fucking hot over there. We didn't have access on the Humvees. We didn't have access to AC. We didn't have
metal and it's metal. Yeah, that's fucking miserable. Oh, I don't like
right. It. And then so imagine us. You know, I'm a gunner. You know, obviously you've seen the Humvees with the gunner on top, right?
Yep.
So here I am, fucking. I'm a gunner, fucking. Full battle rattle. We're talking about full Kevlar, you know. And yeah, the air fucking feels good and everything, but you're still sweating your ass off.
Yeah.
You know, so because I felt confident enough that I trained my driver well enough. At some points, I had to change with him. I had to fucking swap out with him. I was like, hey, dude, I'm tired of being up in the gun. My mind is fucking just exhausted. I'm fucking scanning everywhere. You know, it's time for a break. And so I became such a good driver that fucking my platoon sergeant, that fool's crazy too, but he's like, I trust your driving over all these motherfuckers, including all the sergeants, lieutenants, all these motherfuckers. You a bad motherfucker. So, you know what I mean? So they knew something was definitely off with us. But I want to say probably about a few weeks into us being in country, you know, after raiding so many compounds, you know, just busting down fucking. Exactly. So
you guys were up north of Baghdad. You guys couldn't go through Turkey to exfiltrate to get out. Did you guys go through Baghdad Air Force, Baghdad International, or I forgot the name. Now I forgot the name of it. Or did you guys have to go through Kuwait, like down through drive down, or how'd you guys get out?
No. So remember, I left my unit, you know, mid tour, right, and having had that opportunity, I exfilled. I want to say it was from either Baghdad or actually no, it was from where we were.
That's what it was. Sorry.
No, we actually exfilled from the campground where we were at, because I remember them telling me that the order for the stop loss had been lifted, and so obviously I had to out process over there. You know what I mean? So I'm going through the whole motion. My platoon sergeant's like, "Hey, Leo, what are you thinking?" I said, "Dude," I said, honestly, if I had the opportunity, I would extend, but I don't know where my wife's mind frame is at, you know?
Yeah,
if she says, hey, it's time for you to go. Exactly. So, and I hadn't had this conversation with Jessica yet. So, I remember it must have been like a few days prior. Our platoon sergeant's like, he's like, hey dude, he's like, we got orders, we gotta go support fucking, 112, which was infantry. We got to go support them. They're on a mission, and you know they need our help. So we're like, all right, fuck it, whatever. So we go out with them, and I want to say this must have been like 4th of July or somewhere around there. And I remember we go out, and the minute we actually linked up with them that afternoon, and we're like, hey, you know, we got to go fucking to this town up ahead. And we got to go make sure fucking, you know, it's secure. So we're like, all right, fuck it, whatever. So it must have been like the first few days of July. And so we're traveling down this road, and all of a sudden we have contact, you know? And one of our guys fucking, he's got this fucking optics for his 50 cal running on his truck. And he claims, I want to say some of our gunners didn't see it, but after he fired bullets down range, I want to say he skipped it to where he hit target, and it must have splattered. That's all I saw was
that's impressive
just a
to hit
splatter
with a 50 cal. That's harder to
Yeah. So so he neutralized that, and then the other infantry guys were doing their own thing up ahead. So finally, you know, we were able to neutralize the threat, and we went into the town to fucking go see what was going on. And sure enough, there was fucking AKs fucking scattered through all of these fucking little houses that were there. And I remember we came back. We came back and we found this compound where they were doing a lot of their biological warfare fucking training. They had a whole bunch of fucking suits and fucking books and all kinds of just everything you would need, for chemical warfare.
Well, that's kind of fucking scary.
And so, right?
Fuck.
So we go there, and I remember, and I want to say this is when fucking, who came in, fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he was I want to say it was Arnold that came in to that compound where everybody was staying at. But we were out on mission.
In real life? Like he came to visit like one of those USO tours?
Yep.
What?
Yep.
Arnold
He did one of those. Arnold was, and we were over here fucking on a mission. I was like, what the fuck? I could have met that motherfucker,
to see him. This is so messed up. I'm on the mission. That's fucking, oh my God, that would have been so cool.
It would have been, but, so we kind of felt bad on that side, but our captain, he kind of felt that we needed to be, there should have been some type of consolation prize, right? And so somehow, throughout his connections, oh my God! So that 4th of July was pretty cool, just because of that. It would have been nicer if I had the opportunity to meet fucking Arnold, but
so that
was okay.
Where did you helicopter out from to get out of? Did you end up in Kuwait? Spend a week there to get to Germany and spend 3 days there, or what happened on the way out? What happened?
Yep. So even after that mission, I think I was just waiting on the chaplain to let me go. And that day before, I was scheduled to link up with the chaplain to leave country. My platoon got fucking tasked with another mission.
Jesus.
Yes. And so I was so in tune with my guys that my platoon sergeant told me, he's like, dude, you don't have to go out. You're leaving. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, we got this. I said, no. So sergeant, I said, I'm not leaving this motherfucker until I know for sure you guys are back in the rear and you guys are chilling. I said, I want to make sure that, I properly fucking say goodbye to all my guys before I fucking leave this bitch. And so he had no say on it. I was going with him fucking one way or another. So here we go on a fucking mission. And we get into this town. And obviously you're pretty familiar with some of their customs, but when they have a wedding, one of their customs is to fucking shoot up in the air.
That's
so we go in.
Yeah. Fuck. What do you?
I was because I was the lead gunner. I was in charge of the last 3 trucks in the back, right? So I was in charge of rear security, and I hear the fucking gunshots go off, right? The 2 guys that were shooting at us fucking temporarily got away. We kept fucking pushing down the street.
But if you don't, once they attack you, you don't know if there's going to be people laterally from you, behind you, if it's an attack.
Exactly.
They did so much to kill Americans that you don't know. And so you're on edge and you have to defend yourself. Once they start firing, one stray bullet, your buddy's dead. It's like, damn, I should have fought back. So it's not a...
Exactly.
I can't imagine. That'd be fucking tough. There was...
It changes you. So we obviously we had a security, but we called in for support. I'm over here tending to this motherfucker and putting the IV in his ass. I don't recall. My buddies, they like to, pitch in with the details, but I was told that I hooked him up with an IV, and then right after I hooked him up with IV, my fellow, fucking guys, they put his ass on a stretcher and put him in a bird, right? But right after that happened, I remember obviously going back to some of the training that we got through Special Forces. We went back, and there was some fucking great vineyard that was behind us. My section sergeant and myself, my section sergeant and myself, fucking, my platoon sergeant's like, hey, go scout that shit and see if you guys find anything.
Jesus.
So here we go, just him and I, you know. We go down to this vineyard, and I'm tracking these motherfuckers because I found footprints, you know. And I told my section sergeant, I said, hey, I'm just kind of like fucking making little noises, right? We're going down, and I'm fucking tracking these motherfuckers because that was one of the things that SF taught us. I'm tracking these motherfuckers, and they're pretending to fish. They got these fucking makeshift fucking fishing poles, and so I signal my section sergeant. I said, hey, and I point at him, right? I remember I pulled up my weapon and I started screaming at him, and here comes my section sergeant out of the vineyard, and the oldest one of the two. So I'm here pulling security, and he fucking straps him up real quick. He straps the one that he fucking and puts him in cuffs, and grabs the other one, does the same. So fucking that goes on, and the next following day, because we were also, you know, the trauma that we all faced, you know, to absorb all this shit that we had just fucking gone through. So finally I get out of there, and I'm able to, my platoon sergeant takes me to go see the chaplain, and then he signs me off. So at this point, you know, all I have to do is go back to our camp, you know, fucking pack up all my shit, and the next day I'm out, you know. So here I am, fucking. Yep. So here I am that afternoon. I've already finished with all my equipment and shit that I need to haul back, but at this point it's like I got to take. Now I'm doing fucking round robins. You know, I'm going to each one of my soldiers and shit. You know, and I'm telling them, you know, I apologize for having to go, but you know, I do have a family back home that I got a family back home that you guys know that's waiting for me, and I hope I did the right thing by even, you know, going with you guys on the last mission, and I hope you guys can fucking forgive me one day. So everybody's cool with it, you know, they're like, dude, you know, we couldn't have asked for fucking a tougher dude to guide us, you know. So finally the next day comes, and I'm looking at my platoon sergeant, dude, I was balling. You know, I looked at my driver, fucking gave him a hug, and looked at my platoon sergeant, and I was fucking, you know, it was emotional fucking, you know, having to leave, you know, without them.
So did they call a Black Hawk in for you, or what happened?
Actually, they had a Chinook come in.
Oh, damn.
So when I say I've got my own demons, not too many people are able to understand where I come from with it.
Unless you're over there, and everyone has their own situations, their own experiences. Yeah, I agree. That's fucked up.
Right. So,
so when you got out, the first place you stayed was in Germany or Kuwait?
No, in Kuwait.
Were you at Buring or Asiasalim or Ali Asalim, or where were you at?
I don't remember the fucking campground we were at.
So did you have like your own, like a shared tent with your own bed, and you could go to the dining hall or the little PX they had, like watch a game, play a video game, or could you do anything you wanted at that point?
No, so for me it was a quick process. It was I said goodbye to my guys. They loaded me up in a Chinook, but the thing that traumatized me even more was when I got into the Chinook, I figured, you know, there's other people from other units, you know, doing the same thing I'm doing.
Yep.
But I never thought in my wildest dreams that I was going to accompany fallen soldiers, you know?
Oh, damn. That's what the Chinook was for? Fuck.
Yeah. There was 3 caskets in there.
Well, that sucks. I wouldn't have expected that. Yeah, I just thought they called in a Chinook to bring all the people. Damn. And that messed with you, because that could have been your guys. Like, you don't know. Yeah, you just, in your mind, you're like, damn, that could have been us.
Yep. So So after that, they flew us into Kuwait, and I think I may have spent a day there too. And
what was that
and then they
feeling
loaded us up.
when you first got out of you were in a non-combat zone? Did you have a release of like less stress?
No, it wasn't less stress because I was still stressed
From the experience you just had, yeah.
Not only that experience, but still knowing that my guys were there without me. So I didn't really put my guard down until I saw Jessica.
Damn, you're back in America then.
Yep.
And by the time
so I
you
went
hit
to Kuwait.
How long did it take you to get from Kuwait to see Jessica again? Was that like 7 days, 10, 14, a month? Did they keep you cooped up for a week so you wouldn't like go off back in society, or what happened?
No, it was military never really prepared to have people come back early, So I went into Kuwait. It must have been like a day I had to kind of relax a little bit there. And then the following day I was out. And they put us on a plane to Germany. Got to Germany, and the minute we got off the plane, they already had another one ready for us. So I think I did like a few hour layover, and then from there, I flew into I want to say Georgia.
What? I mean, huge. I just didn't expect that one. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was either Georgia or I flew into just Cincinnati. It must have been, I want to say it was Cincinnati. Because I fly into Cincinnati, and this is when I had a separate experience where I go into Cincinnati, and I'm waiting, because they also have a layover there. And I'm waiting, I go to the bar, and, I want to relax a little bit, so I kind of like sit my ass on a bar. There was really nobody around me. So I'm like, I just ordered a beer, and I'm like, I'm going to enjoy this shit and, whatever. And down this fucking hallway, I look over, because at this point, I'm still fucking on edge. All noises fucking just catch my attention. I'm just ready to react. And there's a fucking noise, and I fucking happen to turn. And when I turn over, there he is, fucking Muhammad Ali, with his wife and his daughter.
The real Muhammad Ali?
The real Muhammad Ali.
What?
This is at the point where he's already dealing with Parkinson's and shit.
Damn. So he's not the same, yeah.
He's not the same. So at this point, me having that understanding and that empathy to understand his condition, I didn't make the effort to even go say hi to him. You know what I mean? I had the opportunity.
Tough. Yeah, that'd be tough. Yeah.
Right. You're right. So I saw him. I said, thank you God for, allowing me to see the man. And I prayed over him, at that moment. And like I said, I never put myself in situations where, I am going to able to see, certain celebrities or whatever, So I'm here at the bar, enjoying the fucking beer, waiting to fucking get on the next plane. And you wouldn't believe this one. Fucking Tim Duncan comes over and sits right next to me.
What? What the hell?
Yeah.
How do they know you?
Yep.
Like, that's ironic. 2 people in the same day. That's crazy.
Two people in the same day, right? So I'm like, what the fuck? So at this point, I did recognize him. And I'm like, hey, Tim, I don't mean to, hopefully I'm not being a pest or anything, but, I'm just getting back from theater, and I was wondering if, you take a minute to give me your autograph. He's like, oh, hey, hey, buddy. He's like, all you had to do was ask. He's like, I'm not that type of person, and I see you're in uniform, and I respect everything you guys do. So he fucking gives me an autograph on his fucking little napkin.
That's cool.
And finally, I finish my beer. He takes off, and get on the plane, and fucking takes me to Georgia. So I go back down to Georgia. I arrive sometime fucking in the afternoon, and there's somebody already there to pick me up to take me to some barracks right there in Fort Benning. So he takes me over. He gives me instructions like, hey, dude, he's like, you're going to spend the night here. The barrack across the street, there's a female. There's another dude over here, another chick on this side. But the one literally across the street or across the way from you, if you need anything, she'll take care of you. I said, all right, cool. So here I fucking spending the night there, fucking barracks. And sure enough, me being me, I was always fucking, uniform was pressed to the T. My boots were fucking always shiny. And I used to, my presentation was just always on point. And I said, you know what? I said, I'm not going to I want to land in Colorado Springs looking sharp. So I go across the way, I bang on the girl's fucking knock on her door, and she comes out and she's like, all right, what can I do for you? I said, hey, can I borrow your iron real quick? And here I am, I spent about an hour fucking pressing my uniform. So here I am, uniform's already pressed, boots are fucking spit shine, and I'm ready to go. I said, fuck it, let me take a shower, hit the bed, and I'm already eager to link up with my wife, And the next morning comes, and I don't have anybody to to give me a ride over there. So here I am, I think I asked somebody to give me a ride, and they gave me a ride, but it wasn't right by the entrance, so I had to fucking hump some of this shit over. And you know how Georgia's humid as fuck.
Yes.
Right, so I'm on this, my uniform's pressed, my boots are shined, and I'm having to fucking lug around all my equipment. I think I had 3 duffel bags or something. So I'm fucking going down this fucking airport and trying to get everything checked in and check myself in. And so throughout the 2 airports that I had been, including that one, and so I remember when it was time for us to check in to board, I remember the fucking pilot and his co-pilot, they came over, right? And they told the ladies that were checking us in, they said, hey, they were the first people that actually thanked me for my service. And they said, listen, we hope it wasn't too traumatizing for you, but we would like to, show you our appreciation. And they bumped me up from coach to first class.
Damn, that's nice. That's a fucking big deal. Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah, for me, it was huge. And fucking guys fucking shook my hand, and flight attendants were real cool with me and shit. Like, hey, if you need a fucking couple shots, let us know. We'll take care of you. We understand, you just came back from war. I was like, dude, bring them on. I said, I need them. So throughout the flight, they tended to me. They took care of me and everything. And right before I left, I told the flight attendants, I said, hey, tell those 2 pilots. And so I finally get into the Springs, and I'm waiting. I'm waiting for my luggage. So I'm waiting, I'm seeing all these bags go around the circle. And at that point, I wasn't.
Yeah, you didn't have.
So I'm sitting here.
Ticker tape.
I didn't have the.
Expected, yeah.
Exactly. So here I am standing, waiting for my bag. And from the least person I expected to come up to me was this. He was a teenager.
What?
Must have been. Yes, anywhere from 14, maybe 17. Young kid. He makes his way over to me, right? He's like, hey man, he's like, I want to thank you for your service, and I want to thank you for your sacrifice. And I told the kid, I said, no problem. I said, exactly. I said, no problem, man. I was like, I do it for every citizen in this country, and I want to thank you for your gesture, So
that's cool.
Finally, I made it back home, and I saw Jessica, and that's when I completely she saw me, and that wasn't the same person she knew before I left. And
it gets to you. And then when you got out, though, like for someone that gets out of the military, how did you take the route to be? What are you doing right now? Is that what you did when you got out?
No. When I got out, the minute I got out, I was still at Carson, but I was, out processing, and I was getting ready to go back to California. So I was dealing with my demons, dealing with out processing, making sure my family was right.
Now, when you say demons,
and on top of that,
are you referring to your little children or the? Just kidding.
No.
I call my kids demons sometimes because fuck, all they want is money. Anyways, so
no, just the traumas, Yeah. I was dealing with that. And no, so yeah, basically I out processed and made my way to California.
And then you ended up in South Central again, Gardenias, or
no? Where the hell we? No, we landed in Southgate with my in-laws, because they wanted to see Jessica and Anthony at the time. We only had Anthony, and so we ended up staying with them.
How old was Anthony at the time?
He was. So, Anthony, I think when I deployed, because Anthony's from July, so I missed his first birthday because I was still deployed.
My God, he was 2 or 3 then. He had no idea what his dad went through. So, he didn't understand
he was
suffering, or he didn't understand what
Yeah, none of that. So, Anthony must have been a year and a half or two, something like that. By the time we made it back to California,
he would have been happy with a Happy Meal, and he would have been like, "Daddy." Yeah, he didn't care.
Oh yeah, when it comes to children, we all have our stories, but Anthony was an amazing child. We were blessed with him. Not saying we weren't with my other two, but you're
the first
it's
one.
It's true. You have typically, and hopefully for most parents, it's the first one is like their ideal child. He doesn't whine. He doesn't, all the scary shit, you deal with some kids. But Anthony was just like the perfect child. And, everybody said, claims the same thing. All my Army buddies, because for that kid, he was never lacking a set of arms to carry him, Fucking all my buddies would fucking carry this kid. And so, yeah, we ended up back in Cali. Initially, I think I may have tried getting back in. I think I tried twice to try to get back in and get reassigned to my unit. But the recruiters I was doing, yep, right after. It wasn't years. It was like I got out. I had a hard time adjusting, and fucking the 2 recruiters I bumped into, I told them, I said, "Hey, dude, I need to go back." I said, "I'm in a bad spot." And at the time, I didn't know anything about the VA. I did file a claim before I got out, but I had no idea where they were. My mind was just somewhere else. And so I tried to enlist again twice, and both of those guys they could care less. So I wasn't able to get in. Yep. So I wasn't able to get in. And then I focused on just trying to find employment, So
what was your first job you got?
I think my first job was a security fucking guard. I did that, but I bumped heads with the guy that owned that company because he was prior law enforcement or something.
Yeah, that's a different yeah.
Yeah, so he was gun ho, but in their line of work. He had never met somebody like me. And I told this guy, I said, "Listen, man," I said, I'm just coming back from theater. I said, "I was in the shit." I said, "I don't know what type of shit you've been in, but," I said, "just keep in mind, I've been in the shit." And so I bumped heads with him about that. He thought he was hard because he was prior law enforcement. And
I've made 3
and I said, "Listen, man."
I had a raid of 7-Eleven, yeah. The job could fucking...
It wasn't,
have to worry about shit like
that. So that was... Right? So that was my first job, and then after that, My mother-in-law owns her cleaning company back in Cali.
Oh.
And she's like, I don't want you to stress out. I want you to to regain, you know, who you used to be.
Shit, yeah.
Yep. So you're gonna ride along with me. I'm gonna teach you how to fucking what I do for work, and you're just gonna ride with me. You know, I don't need you to fucking make thousands of dollars to contribute or anything. Just fucking run with me. I said, all right, cool. So I did that with her for a little bit. And then I was like, you know what? I'm done with this phase. I need to go fucking find some law enforcement or something, because that's all combat arms. Everybody does combat arms. You fucking end up some type of law enforcement, right? Yep. And so right after that, I started looking into corrections. I never wanted to be a cop, but I looked into corrections and shit like that. But I didn't really take it serious until further a few years down the road. But right after that, my wife's brother-in-law, he was working at one of these beverage companies, like a soda company.
Yep.
And he's like, I can see that you're kind of tired of doing what you do right now, but he's like, I'm gonna try to hook you up with a job. I said, all right, cool, whatever. So he fucking he sets up an interview because he's got an insight. He sets up an interview with the supervisor. I go in, and as I'm sitting down, my fucking brother-in-law or my wife's brother-in-law fucking walks by the office, doors open. So the supervisor sees his ass and he fucking calls him in. He's like, hey man, he's like, what's up with this guy over here? He's like, you recommended him, you know? And my supervisor fucking actually my Jessica's brother-in-law fucking turns around. He's like, hey dude, he's like I don't know him. He's like, I don't know him long, but I can vouch for him. This guy's fucking, he's a hard worker, you know.
Yeah.
This guy's legit. He just came back from war, so. And then the guy looks at me, and you can see his expression just change when he told him that I just came back from Iraq. And so the guy didn't ask me any further questions. It was like, if you want the job, it's yours. Cool. So that, you know, he didn't really ask me anything. He's like, if you got a fucking mode of transportation, the job is yours if you want it. So I fucking took it.
You have the family support of and there's different Latin people, like Latin from Spain is different, but the Mexican family structure, that's why I wanted to move to Mexico, because there's just good family, like they take care of one another, and that was cool that he supported you that way.
Mm-hmm. So he put me on. Same thing, you know, I've always, everywhere I've gone, if I've had the ability and capacity to do it, I like to show people up. Everywhere I go, I don't care where it is. And so he had already been working there for a few years. He's also from Michoacan.
That's even better.
And so he thought,
yeah.
Right. So, you know, he thinks he's hard shit because, you know, he had been doing that job for a while. So I'm like, all right. So I get into it. I start learning fucking, you know, picking up on different techniques from different people. And I'm finally at a point where I'm like, you know what? I'm even better than you, you know, like, and so, you know, he takes me to help him a couple times, and he sees what I've been able to accomplish, you know, and he's like, oh shit, this motherfucker's pretty bad too. So, you know, at that point, we're like, we understand each other, you know, and then there's a position that comes up for the lead merchandiser at the time. And, you know, back in Cali, the majority of the companies are all fucking unionized. So they had initially offered it to somebody, but I called that person for something that he was fucking up. And I guess the guy didn't fucking take it lightly, and, you know, some shit got out of hand, and the guy's like, you know what, fuck this up. On second thought, I don't want it. You know, it's going to be too much of a headache. And so that's when it opened up. My supervisor calls me, and he's like, hey, dude, it's like, I heard fucking, you know, you're part of the reason why fucking the first candidate didn't want to take it, so now it's on the table. Do you want it? I said, fuck it, give it to me. I said, I ain't fucking scared of shit. So he gives me that position, and fuck, sure enough, fucking he loves, you know, the decision he made. And a few years down after I got hired on, that's when I revisited the idea of working at a corrections facility. And I applied the first time, and something happened. I think I had a conversation with Jessica, and she's like, I don't want you to do that because it's so risky. So, right? You gotta always ask the wife what's up, you know? So she kind of fucking persuaded me to stay at where I was at. All right, cool, whatever. So then later on, that's when I used my GI Bill, and I went to school. Same thing for, you know, criminal justice degree. And I remember at that time, I revisited the idea of fucking working at, you know, Department of Corrections. And I submitted my application again. And at this point, I had already had that conversation with Jessica. And she's like, hey man, she's like, I can't talk you out of it. You're already, you know, in the process and you're going to go through it. And I said, all right, cool. So I finally get they schedule an appointment for me to come in to do a physical and all that shit, you know. So I'm at their facility doing all this, going through the process, and they're about to do the physical on me, and Jessica calls me, and she's like, hey, she's like, how you doing? I was like, well, I'm getting ready to get a physical done, and you know we're gonna go from there. And she's like, no, she's like, you know what? Just tell them, you know, thank you for the opportunity, but I don't want you to do it. You know, this is the second time, so I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, I guess. So, you know, I apologize, fucking step out the room, go back home, and I'm still doing the same job. I'm like, what the fuck, man? So that all happened, and I continued working there. I, you know, moved up to, you know, assistant salesman and all that shit. And then finally Jessica goes, you know what? I'm tired of living in California. And that's when we finally moved back over here. But, yeah.
Living in California, so, what? I mean, it's expensive, but goddamn, it's nice. Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, we were, I mean, we had a good moments, but California is one of those states, because it's so busy, you know, you're going to have ups and downs. It just goes with the territory. And I think at that point, we weren't on our way down or anything. We were still living comfortably and everything, but she needed change. She needed distance from I want to say family.
I understand.
You know? So she, you know, this is one place that she was familiar with, and she's like, hey, what do you think? You know, so she kind of brought up the notion of me trying to transfer through the company I was with at the time. And sure enough, you know, they're like, yeah, you know, it's, you can do it, but because of the, you know, living condition or living expenses is just different. So if you want to come down here, or up here, you're gonna take a pay cut. And I said, for real? I said, I've got all these fucking years of experience, and you're gonna fucking chop me down? They're like, yeah, you know, it's kind of, but you'll gain it back when you get here. And I was like, nah. I was like, all right, whatever the wife wants, right? You know, I'm up for it. So I get here, and we actually moved the whole shit up here. So down there in Walsenburg, when we're coming up, because we came down through the 40. When we got to Walsenburg, this shit was snowing. It was coming down hard. And I remember Jessica saying,
your choice.
Exactly, right? And we got two vehicles, fucking two-wheel drive. So we have no fucking 4x4. Yep. So we're coming up, and there was nothing wrong with the Tahoe I had, but the Honda Accord that she was driving, for some reason the heater wasn't working. So obviously with the weather conditions, she's like, you know what, fuck this shit. We're spending the night. Let's find a fucking hotel. You know, when we finally made it up here to the Springs, Jessica had planned everything as far as an apartment and everything via online. Everything was done over the phone, online. We fucking, you know how most people, when you go fucking apartment hunting, you actually physically go see the place. We had none of that. So we get here, you know, we're partying and shit, and then a few days later, we're having to fucking load everything up, you know, the rest of our belongings. Jesus. And I'm talking about fucking, this trailer was stacked all the way to, it was past the fucking railing. This shit was fucking packed. So we tarp it up. We're fucking heading back, and we get back, and around this time, she's already considering fucking trying to get a home. And so we start fucking house shopping, or house hunting. And she finally finds the one. She's like, this is the one. She's like, I feel the energy. It feels good.
That means it's expensive.
Yes, right? And I don't know about her, but she has the ability, I want to call it. And she can sense certain things, right? And sometimes, we walk into a home and she's like, right off the bat, she just looks at me. She's like, no, like, not this one. I said, all right, cool. So finally, we visit this home fucking I think we visited 10 times, and she's like, yep, that's the one. And sure enough, it was like, we didn't even spend, but maybe 3 months at this apartment. And within 3 months, we fucking had our first home here. So after that, after we got the home and everything, that's when I started getting kind of bored of that company I was with. And I was like, it's time for a change. And that's when I took the leap and I want to go get my Class A. So I went to one of these companies that offer, a schooling or trucking school in their complex, and I went to go get it. Fucking, I passed the course and came right home and fucking, went to the DMV.
If an enlisted guy is getting out of the military and he's looking for a job, how difficult is it to get into the trucking business? Like, was it difficult to apply for the school? Would the GI Bill cover it? Like, how difficult is it?
So, obviously, my experience was different than most, but at one of the companies I was working for, we did have another veteran, and he was able to, because he was driving a lot of the deuce and a halves and 5 tons and stuff like that. He was able to use or transfer that into the schooling. So, and he did use his GI Bill there.
Cool. So that helps. That's awesome.
Yeah, it helps. So he kind of, in a way, he got grandfathered in because he didn't have to do the whole course. So he was able to use it that way. Yeah, so he was able to do that. And so he got on with the company that I worked for. And the Class A thing, once you're coming out of military, it is nice. If you have some experience in there with 5 tons, deuce and a half and stuff, it is nice.
Too, yeah.
And it helps. It helps, but it's not super difficult to get out of the service and go right into trucking.
So
it's not. It's just
an enlisted guy coming out can expect to make, everyone knows what you make enlisted in the Army and whatever. The average salary in the United States for a trucker's, let's say $60,000, between $40 and $90 a year, about $29 an hour, which is good for because most people only get 21 coming out. Is that like that? But that's different for big cities. So is Colorado Springs, Denver area, like in this area? Do they pay that, or does it depend on your route?
Yeah, when it comes to the trucking industry, it's who you know, where you're at, like your demographic, or not demographic, your region.
Yeah.
Because some places, some states export and import, and there's states that all they do is import. So in order for you to get a load coming out of there, you typically have to deadhead to one of the nearing states to get a load.
Now,
for example,
yeah,
go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask about does your trucking company give you an air ride suspension, a sleeper in the truck? Do they offer you different sizes, or it depends on kind of who you know and what trucking industry you went, or what business you went with?
Sort of. So, most people that get into the trucking industry, you're typically going to try to get your license through one of the mega carriers,
Start out big,
and you're going to use them. Yeah, you're going to start with them because they are easier to absorb your lack of experience. They give you the opportunity for you to gain your license through them instead of having to go to outsource and go through a different academy. because with them you get the experience, you get your license. They allow you to drive even though you're brand spanking new to the industry, and you just, they provide, typically newer trucks, air ride suspension. They typically want to always team you up with somebody that's already been driving.
Oh,
so you'll team up with them, and you'll have two beds. You have your bed and you have.
Do you slip seat, or do you get your own truck, or is that even, or just everyone shares?
Typically, right as soon as you graduate, you're typically you're teaming up because they want you to gain the hours, behind the wheel. So you will do that for typically a few months until, your trainer gives them the green light that, this guy's good. He knows what he's doing. I've taught him, best I could, and I think he's ready for his own truck. And so,
so
it takes a few months
your way into it. Gotcha.
Yep.
They have to trust you.
Yep. So
do they pay for
exactly?
Do they pay for lumpers, or do you have to pay? Like someone that unloads the truck for you, do you pay for that, or do the big companies cover that for you?
No. So typically, if you're going to go through a big company, and let's say you get your license for them, obviously you're obligated to drive for them for a number. A period of time frame. Yeah, right. They want you to do that, but people have realized that it's sometimes it is greener on the other side. So what people end up doing, they'll get their experience because it's hard for you to, and this is what some people don't understand. When you do that and you get your license through a mega carrier, it's very smart to gain that experience. Even if it's through this company and you're starting to see all the flaws that go on with this company, but you want to stick it out.
That makes sense. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Exactly. So you don't want to be a tough guy and say, fuck this company. I only got 3 months experience. You don't want to do that because
God. No, you need years. Yeah, you're right. That's yeah.
Exactly. So
suck it up. Yeah.
Any company you go to, the first thing that's gonna come out of their mouths is they're gonna ask you how much experience you got.
That's the truth, yeah.
For me myself, I was fortunate.
What's up, lady? How much experience did you have?
So for me, I was fortunate. I got my license. I think I did a few runs with that company, and I opted out to just pay for what they were gonna charge me for the license, and I left. Right. And these mega carriers, they're connected through family. If it's not a cousin, a brother, a nephew, but all the mega carriers, they're all related. This mega carrier, they have little dorms in their facility. So a lot of the drivers, they have to sleep there. And my first fucking night there, when people make comments that truck drivers are nasty, there are some fucking truck drivers that are very fucking nasty because...
Nasty as in body hygiene, the way they drop mud in the bathroom.
Nicholas, Nicholas, when I say that even traumatizes me even more.
Now,
I go into this room.
Yeah.
And it's basically like a barrack. You know how basic training barracks is just all wide open and you have all these bunks, right? It was set up that same way. And so I walk in, and the minute I open the door, I get this fucking funk. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to fucking sleep right here. So the first night, I had to fucking suck it up and fucking, I'm here for the ride, so I suck it up.
If you've been to Iraq and you've smelled the things that you smell over there, and you're saying it's fucking nasty, damn, that place is nasty. Janet, that's a nasty
it was
shit.
It was raunchy. It was very raunchy. So after I had this conversation with this dude, he tells me, he's like, hey, bro, the company got me a hotel room. I was like, what the fuck? So he tells me this the next day. I'm like, you know what? Fuck, what the fuck am I doing in this nasty ass room, right? So he's like, hey, go sleep in the room, dog. I got an extra bed. I'm like, all right, he's legit. So we go through the course.
Which school is this, by the way? Which major carrier? Is this Empire Express, Standard Forwarding? Who you with at this
No, so I made the choice to go with CR England. And the owner for that company was the founder of All Trucking.
Oh.
So I go through them, and we do all the practicing, and finally the day comes where we got to take the test. So we do that, and they make you after you pass it, they make you sign a contract. You're going to stick around with them for a while, and so we both passed it. And that afternoon, he looks at me, and he's like, "Hey, dude, I don't plan on sticking around and driving for these guys. So what do you think if we go look shopping around for another company? And in the state where I want to go get it, there's 4 mega carriers over there." And so we finally make it back to the house, and Jessica meets my buddy, and so I go immediately, because I showed up that morning, immediately to the DMV to register my license and everything. And then a few days later, I get in contact with the neighbor company, with them, and they're like, "Yeah, we want to take you on." So I finally, probably about a week goes by, and I finally make it back down to the same state. They put me on a fucking Greyhound, so here I go back. And now at this point, they also want me to, because I'm still new to the industry, they want me to partner up with somebody. And here I go, fucking partner up with somebody. And, I'm rocking it. Dude's like, "Man, you can fucking drive." I said, "Yeah, bro." I said, "I got this shit." So after like probably about 2 months, that's when I finally gained, his acceptance, and they try to give him my own truck, but they're like, "Hey, why don't you try to, run with this other guy? He needs help." So sure enough, I fucking hop on with this other guy, and we're doing fucking loads everywhere. We're going to Texas, we're going to fucking, just all over the place. And at this point, they're like, "You know what? You're ready to fucking go by yourself." So sure enough, they give me a fucking, I think it was like a 2016 Freightliner at the time. It had 2 beds and everything, so I'm fucking rocking it. So I get back to their facility, because they have one right there in Ontario, California. And I tell my driver manager, I said, "Hey, bro," I said, "Give me a second. I gotta drive down to the Target and get my son some medicine, because he's feeling under the weather." Sure enough, we go down, get him something, come right back. The minute I'm back to my truck, fucking driver manager's like, "Hey, dude, can you do a short run? Just pick up a load and go drop it off, and then come right back," right? And he's over here sick. And I said, "All right, don't worry about it. I got it." So I look at Michael. I'm like, "Hey, dude, we got to go." He's like, "All right, Dad, just don't worry about it." So we fucking go do that run. We make it back. And then they're like, "Hey, you know what? We got another load for you." So sure enough, I get a load. I'm heading back. And I want to say I did two other runs, and then that brought me back to Colorado. And by that time, I already had, probably about 6 months experience.
Damn.
And Jessica's like, "Hey, why don't you try to find a company that's here in town and see if you can come on with them?" I said, "All right, we'll see." So while I was still out, there was nobody that was trying to hire me, because, I was still pretty new. So then I said, "You know what? I got to change. I got to change somewhere else." So finally, I made it back to Denver, and I asked Jessica, I said, "Hey, just come pick me up. I'm gonna unload all my stuff, and I'm gonna go in, drop the trailer in the truck, and I'm gonna tell them that, I had an emergency. I gotta leave." So sure enough, I tell them that. They're like, "Well, just, keep us posted and let us know when you're gonna get back, whatever." So at this point, we decided to go to California for like a month. And we go to California, we do our thing over there, and I call another company that's related to that second company. And they're like, "Oh, yeah, we'll fucking take you on." So here I go again, same state. And at this point, I've already got 6 months under my belt. And when they took me out on a test drive, the instructor knew I could drive. So he's like, "Oh, we're going to give you your own truck."
Damn.
So here I am fucking, right? And this company was legit. I love the company. I love the way they function. I loved everything about it. So, initially I was driving, I think it's 2015 Freightliner. Same thing,
Which company is this? Is this still
two
CR
beds,
England?
the whole works. No. So I went, and these are all related. I went CR England just to get my license, and then I went to Swift.
Swift?
And then from Swift I went. Yep. You'll see them everywhere. They got the white trucks with the blue letter. They look like Walmart, but it's a Swift on the side. So I left them, and I went to a company that, all the big bosses are all related, and I went to Pride Transportation. So I get in with them. They give me my own truck, and I'm hauling for them. I go down to Texas. I go down to Nebraska. I make my way out to Chicago, right?
Yeah.
I only got 6 months in, and I'm fucking driving all the way out to Chicago. So every time I went to Chicago, I delivered my load, and then they'd give me another load to go pick up, and it was always fucking eggs. I would always have to go pick up eggs.
Did you say eggs?
And so
that's funny.
Eggs, yep.
Not the thing I
so
expected
I would
to transport,
pick up,
yeah.
right? And it was the crazy thing was every shipper, they do things differently. And I go to this one place and they load up pallets of eggs. And we're not talking about they're in cartons or shrink wrap, nothing. They just fucking somehow stack them up on pallets and are careful enough to fucking load them onto your truck.
Jesus.
So I'm like, this motherfucker. I said, I know there's gonna be quite a few fucking eggs missing by the time I make it over there, right? So I had to go from Chicago back to Utah and deliver out there. A few of those times I'm like, you know what? The first time I was like, there's got to be over a fucking dozen eggs and fucking casualties here, And so I finally make it down there. They unload me, and there was only like 5 or 6 eggs that were broken. I'm like,
I don't know how
the
that's
fuck
possible.
Is that happening?
Yeah.
Right? I was like, I know there was a couple fucking curves where I fucking came in pretty hot and, being fairly new to the industry. So after that, they kind of trusted me with that route and I would, go out to Chicago, deliver. And, one time I had to go up to Wisconsin to pick up a load. Another time I had to go out to Indiana to pick up a load. Same thing, eggs. And I did that with them for a little while. And at that point, that's when Jessica really fucking got onto me. She's like, hey, why don't you find a company here in town, see if they can pick you up. And I believe I was in Washington when this happened. And so I called a local company here. And I said, hey, you guys hiring? They're like, yeah, but, we kind of require, a year, 2 years experience. How much time do you have? And so I'm adding up all this fucking time with the different companies, right? And I said, pretty close to about a year. And I said, where have you driven? I said, dude, I've driven almost everywhere. I said, I've driven, going up to Washington, Oregon, California. I've done the Grapevine, fucking Texas, Colorado, Wyoming. I've done all those states in inclement weather as well. And they said, oh, you know what? So when you get back into town, come talk to us.
Damn.
So sure enough, I went to go talk to them and they're like, yeah, we offer you a job. So I ended up with them. And Jessica was cool with it because, I was home.
So when you say local, you can go to drive Denver, or is that Wichita, Kansas, Wyoming? Is like, what do you consider local drive? Like just within Springs to state, in state?
Yeah, in state. That would be local.
Cool.
So, I gained the experience of driving inclement weather here in fucking Colorado. I drove all over all these fucking mountains. My route used to take me into New Mexico.
I am a weak-ass driver. I have to fucking have something in my mind. So I listen to books on tape or a podcast. Like, what do you do when you drive to stay focused? After 12 hours, or, 8 hours, you're like, brr. And these people cut in front of you and shit, and it's rude. People, get aggressive. Like, what do you do to stay focused? Do you have a TV, podcast? Do you read listen to books on tape, or what do you do?
No, so when before I was able to obtain my own company.
What?
It was all, before all that, that's when you start splurging on things like that. Prior to that, when you're a company driver, you don't necessarily have access to all of that because some companies, they have cameras and shit.
Oh my God!
You know,
think of that. Yeah, they're watching your ass.
They're watching your ass. So I want to say the first two companies that I
paranoid enough.
Right, exactly. You know, so you're paranoid because of the loads and the equipment you're fucking driving, and then on top of that, they have all these fucking sensors that trying to help you, and then they're watching you, so it can get annoying.
We just saw you out, yeah.
Exactly. We saw you fucking, look down for something, or so yeah, it's definitely irritating, but. No, for the most part, it was mostly tunes. I was listening to music. It was all music, and knowing, the faster I get there, if the appointment's is set for the following day, then I can rest between, the time that I get there and the time I have to deliver.
Deep respect.
So that was my biggest thing.
Deep respect, because I don't know how you stay awake and just focus. Like, I could never drive long distances. If I just drove my wife, my father-in-law, and my dogs down to a place called New Mexico. What's it called? I told Jessica, but I forgot what it's called now. Shit. Anyways, it was only like a 6-8 hour drive, but it was through the mountains. Just like,
was it past Las Vegas?
Yes, it's down to the right. Past Las Vegas, down to the right. It's the biggest city. It's the second biggest city in New Mexico. It's called Albuquerque. Sorry, Albuquerque. Did you ever have to drive through there?
We did.
Yeah. It's a 5-lane highway. It's like freaking aggressive. Food down in Albuquerque is like Mexican food is legit, but it's like really, really like cheap. Like, not Taco Bell, like really like down to earth. Like when you get a taco, it's legit Mexican. Like it's not Taco Bell and shit like on the border where Bobby comes out with blonde hair and is like, what can I get you guys? And there's a Chinese guy cooking in the kitchen. That's not fucking Mexican food. You know what I'm saying? It's legit. Got a few people in the restaurant speak English, but it's legit. Like they're from Nueva Vallarta or somewhere that's, they're Mexican and not, typical. We always Americanize shit. We always make it like Japanese food is Japanese people are disgusted. They're like, this is not, But it's good to call it a night right now, but it was awesome doing the podcast with you. And I'm going to see you again, of course, because I know your family and stuff. But this was great. God, you've been through so much. We talked about, my God, the Army. I didn't realize you did all that shit. I just thought, you deployed to, like, Army guys are seeing 30 to 100 people dead. I'm running IEDs. You see your bloodies blow up. They're seeing horrific things. And the people I've seen in the Army went through some shit. And the Marine Corps, deep respect, because they fucking see it. And it's harder for them to get disability and the VA stuff. And it always disgusts me we don't take care of our soldiers better, but that's just part of life. I'm just so used to, But anyways, deep respect for your time in the service. You survived. You're doing well with the family, so that's awesome. You got the kids to be proud of, so that's awesome.
Right, exactly.
And Anthony's a good kid. He's, deep respect. You've done good. But appreciate talking with you. And this is Why So Spicy? Anyways, good talking to you. And I will catch you on the flip side.
All right, Nicholas.
Thank you, sir.